Hello everybody. Today we are here to talk about neuro-linguistic programming. So some of you know already what it is a little bit, some of you know, so we are going to see some from the basics. This is my diploma of neuro-linguistic programming that I got some years ago. And it expired, but I got the second one. This is the neuro-linguistic programming. You have the practitioner, and then you have master practitioner, and then you have trainer and master trainer. Okay, I have only reached the first step, that is the practitioner. And the trainer are those who can teach neuro-linguistic programming. So I am not allowed with my diploma to teach neuro-linguistic programming, but today we are going to just see some basic concepts and an idea of what is neuro-linguistic programming. That is actually is a series of techniques, of tools that you can use to affect your subconscious mind to get the result that you want. So what is NLP, neuro-linguistic programming? Neuro, because it's the nervous system through which experience is received and processed through the 5 senses. We're going to see now this more specifically. Linguistic, language and non-verbal communication systems through which neural representations are coded, ordered, and given meaning. So far it sounds still a bit blurred. Okay, no worries. Programming, the ability to organize our communication and neurological systems to achieve specific desired goals and results. Who invented that? This. It was Richard Bandler and John Grinder. Those two guys created neuro-linguistic programming. After each of them followed their own path. So there are two kind of different versions of neuro-linguistic programming. The one I studied is the Richard Bandler. So it's about neuro, about the mind, linguistic language, and programming actions. So it is how we can use the language, not only the language, also the language of our body, for example, etc. And we are going to see now, to change our mind, because this is something that we have seen in previous sessions. Our mind is, we have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind, it is the kind of mind that is doing the automatic things that we don't even think about that consciously. And that subconscious mind is like a program that through our lives, especially during the first years of our life, we put like a program. You know about programming. It's like you write, if I get this situation, I act in this way, right? So whenever it comes this situation in your life, you are going to act in that certain way that is programmed in your subconscious mind, unless you decide consciously to change that unconscious or subconscious behavior. And that is, with the neuro-linguistic programming, we can do that. Our subconscious mind is kind of the boss, because when we are sleeping, for example, our conscious mind is sleeping, but our subconscious mind is still working. So our dreams come from our subconscious mind. So if we want to change a behavior, we need to interact with our subconscious mind to change that program. So whenever it comes that situation again, we act in a different way. We can act in a different way consciously. We say, okay, wait a moment. We are going to, this time I'm going to act not in the way that I'm used to do, but in a more creative, different way. So for example, if somebody comes to you and insults you, tells you, I don't know, silly or something worse. Well, our maybe culture or maybe where we learn that when somebody is against us, we insult back, right? They insult us, we insult back. That is quite a basic education, but most of us has fallen into this behavior. And until you say, okay, is this behavior beneficial for me? Or I can, when I receive the insult, there is always a gap between the circumstances that you get and your reaction. So that reaction can be actually a proaction. You can be proactive. So there's always a gap. You get the circumstances, that situation, and imagine that there is a gap where you can stop there and say, wait a moment, how do I want to act this time under these circumstances? So instead of reacting, so acting always in the same way with the same circumstances, you can say, I'm going to act in a different way. That is not that difficult to do. We just need to be conscious about that, decide to change our behavior, and do it. A habit is something that is an action that you repeat. Always that you have this situation, you act in this way. So a habit is something that is kind of automatic, that is in the subconscious mind. So sometimes it's not that easy to change because it's something that has become automatic. But if we are conscious and we say, okay, now I'm going to change that. And the next time you are conscious again, and now I'm going to act in this other way. And the next time, so once you keep repeating in a different behavior, in the end, that new behavior becomes the habit. It is said that it takes 3 weeks to change a habit, well, depending, more or less. I mean, something that usually is not automatic, but you can change a behavior. The thing is, in our lives, we have had different situations, some of them even traumatic, that we don't even remember consciously, but they are affecting our subconscious mind, and they are making us acting in a certain way that might be not the most beneficial for us. So are those traumatic events or not so traumatic, but we don't even remember what is the root of a behavior sometimes. We just act in some way without even being conscious of the why. So also the neuro-linguistic programming help us to go deeper into that, and once you understand what is the situation that made you act in that way, then through the language, you can reprogram your subconscious mind. So that previous event in your life becomes not so relevant because you have consciously changed that. Once you put the light on that situation and you understand why it happens, doesn't have that power over you anymore. So you can decide. It's a matter of decision, a choice. I now want to do it this other way, etc. So we have an external information that comes to our sense, and then we process that internally. There is a process that comes into our brain, our mind, and we have a representation of that situation. For example, it was 2 weeks ago, we were talking about love. So our internal representation of love might be different from a different person. As we said, there are different types of love, but many people, they don't know that there are different types of love. So when you say about love, you talk about love, They think maybe about the romantic love, the love in a couple. And then they always process that kind of love whenever you are talking or dealing with love. And what happens, for example, if they think about that romantic love, and imagine a person that has had very good experiences with the previous partners. So they hear about love, and then the reaction that they have in their internal system is something with pleasure. They feel it like the memories are good. But what happened if somebody had some not so nice experiences about love? The previous partners were not behaving good, and well, different cases. But so when you talk about love, that person internally is going to feel kind of fear, being uncomfortable, etc. So it is very important what is within our subconscious mind, because that makes us behave in some different ways. Also, we are going to talk about the expression modalities: visual, kinesthetic, auditory, etc. We are going to see that. Okay, so what I was talking before, well, this is in Spanish, but anyway, I'm going to translate it. So this is the psychological map of the human being. That is what we usually see: the environment and the conduct. So the environment is what happens to us, and then we behave in some other way. So this is where, when, and this is I do. Okay, for something that happens to us, we act in some different way. But what we don't see is not visible for us, visible, is like an iceberg. All the things that are behind that. So the experience that we have had, the previous experiences, like for example in the love sense, I have said before. So you will know something that might not be the same from other people. So usually we have the one of the things that the neuro-linguistic programming, one of the key points is that the map is not the territory. So you take a map, you say, okay, this is the world, right? And you see all the countries here, but this is actually not the territory. To represent the world, actually you need to create the same site in 3D. So we just represent the world in 2D or even in 3D, but in a small scale, etc. So in our brains, we have something similar. We have a map. We understand life in some sense, but that doesn't mean this is life. Like my map can be different from other people's map. So when you are talking to somebody and they are saying, for example, that they behave in a certain way because they, and you see, this is not the right way to behave, but for them, according to their map, that is the proper way to behave in that way. So we must distinguish that the map is different from the territory, and usually people act thinking that whatever actions they take, that is the right thing to do. That is what people think usually. Okay, so we have this experience, and then we have our capacities: I can, our beliefs, I believe, our values, I want, I don't want this, and our identity, I am. So all this is something that we don't see. We only see when a person acts, we can only see on top of the iceberg. But there are so many things that are hidden, not only in other people's, but also, of course, within us. And often we don't even are conscious of some things of this from ourselves. So that is where we need to investigate to change some behaviors that we want to change. For example, a person who cannot sleep well and doesn't know why. She thinks that it is because of lack of calcium, and because she believes that, and she has this like a kind of well, an illness that is like lack of calcium. She thinks that is the reason for not being able to sleep well. But maybe you investigate and then you find out that there was a previous event in her or his life where that was a traumatic event, that from there, since then, that person started sleeping bad. And that event was even unconscious because, or maybe it was conscious, but they prefer not to remember because it was a traumatic event. But then you realize that that was that specific event that made that person not being able to sleep well. And the calcium, it was kind of an excuse to explain why she was not sleeping well, or he. So this is just an example that we have some behaviors in our lives that we don't even know where they come from, or we think they come from something. But if you investigate, you can find out things, previous events in your life, traumatic events, or not traumatic. That when you were a child, for example, I live in a neighborhood that is very green with many parks. So for me, being in a park is like, is kind of magic for me. It's like I can feel when I was a child and I was enjoying in the park. So I love, go to a park, to the forest, and for me it's like feeling so well there. So depending on your previous experiences and also your beliefs, your values, this is very important. For example, my values are, when I created my company, I was doing a task that was to decide the values of my company. That is very important when you have a company, because people can see what are the values of the company, and so they follow the company. Actually, the biggest companies, they have very specific values, and that makes people follow those companies. The root of the mission of the company, right? Instead of what they do, is why they do it. This is the golden circle that you might have heard of. Anyway, so I was doing this exercise. I decided for my company that the values would be honesty, integrity, kindness, respect, and continuous improvement. Well, there are honesty and integrity that are very similar. No, it's not the same, but they are similar. Then kindness and respect, that are also very related. It's not the same, but, and then, well, continuous improvement, that sometimes I change for another one, but, or commitment to your goals or something like that. But the thing is, I realized that those values that I put for my company, actually they are my values. And then, because honesty and integrity are my values number 1 and 2, when I see people lying, and so clearly, and they don't care about that, it's like, for me, it's like, I cannot be with those people. So I have clear who to be with, who I want to be with, is my choice. People who are honest, who you can tell things and they understand, and you can have a conversation that is real, that what you tell is real. It's like you are not talking and then everything is messed up. So because I have this value and this belief that being honest is a good thing. Some people, maybe they don't have that belief, but those are my values and beliefs. So that affect how I act and the people who I want to be with, etc., etc. Well, let's move on. The representational systems. Well, very related with our sense. There are three main ones: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. So visual, this is how each of us learn or even retain the information in our brain. We all have all of this, but usually there are something that is more than one or two that are more than the other ones. So for example, in my case, I'm very visual. So for me to remember something, I prefer to see it. If somebody just tell me that, I can remember, but for me it's much more effective if I see. And if I put some pictures, well, in this slide I haven't put any picture, but in most of my slides I have some picture that helps the visual people to retain the information and to process better in their brains. Auditory is for the people who get the information listening, mostly. That actually, it is said that this is around 10 or 20% of the people. So our educational system is based of, usually, the teacher just tells you the lesson and that's it. And it's actually the less effective way for the most of the people. And then kinesthetic is about feeling, about acting. So these people, for example, all of us remember that we all have all of this, no? But there are people who have more of one of them than the other. So you take some action, you act. For example, role playing is a very good technique for kinesthetic people and for usually many people to remember something, no? If I'm just telling you this lesson, it's like, okay, but if I say, all right, now we're going to play a game, not for a specific point, but we are going to do some kinesthetic exercises later, okay? And you are going to see. And also, well, we have the olfactory and gustatory, but this is the less, because those sense we don't use that much usually to get information, to learn, etc., right? And there is another one that is the auditory digital. This is basically talking to yourself, having a conversation with yourself. I am also quite a lot of this. So sometimes, for example, I go to a park and I just working and thinking, like about, for example, neuro-linguistic programming, and I have a conversation with myself. So this is a way that also is help you to process the information and to remember, because you are reviewing the information like if it was a conversation, but it's only in your head. So this is the auditory digital. And now it's time to do one of these exercises. I need a volunteer. It's going to be easy. So it's just, I think Maritere will be happy to be a volunteer here.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm going to send you to a breakout room. I'm going to explain this, and then I'm going to ask you some questions after. So you don't need to do anything, just answer the question normally. Okay? Okay, Maritere, you can go to the breakout room. This is another tool that we have in neuro-linguistic programming that says that depending of if you are remembering something or making up something, creating something, this also depends if you are right-handed or left-handed. Usually right-handed people, when they remember something, the eyes look to the left. And if it is something that is auditory, the eye goes to the left, but at just horizontally. If they remember something visually, the eye goes in diagonal here. And if they are creating something like inventing a situation, they are looking to the right. And if it is visual, up the right. And now, If it is something kinesthetic, so they are remembering, thinking about a feeling, usually look down right. And now if they are talking to themselves, is the down left. Okay. Now we are going to bring back Maritere. Okay, she's here. So now, if you want to see better, you can pin Maritere to see her better. So, okay, Maritere, I'm just going to ask you some questions. And, well, you can answer to the questions, but you didn't need to answer to the question. Just think about the answers. Okay? What color is your favorite shirt?
What?
What color is your favorite shirt? ¿Qué color es tu camisa favorita?
Ah, okay. Blue. Blue
Okay.
one. Mhm.
When was the last time you saw your signature?
Yesterday.
How did the last piece of music you heard sound? ¿Cómo fue la última pieza de música que escuchaste? ¿Cómo suena?
I don't remember, but I would choose the one that I like is like with Luis Miguel, like no sé tú, pero yo no te he dejado de olvidar.
Okay, Maritere not only answers the questions, also sings. Very nice. Thank you.
Okay.
What does your car look like? Do you have a car?
No.
Okay. What does your house look like?
It's a small place, warm, and I like it.
How does laughing feel? ¿Cómo sientes la risa?
It feels like $1,000,000 or even more. It's fantastic.
Describe the contents of your room you would like to create.
Well, it should be.
Yes.
It should be small or big. It really doesn't matter, but it has to be a lot of light inside of my room, and with plants and with a waterfall. Not a waterfall, a water fountain, and of course my pet.
Okay. Imagine yourself 10 years from now.
Okay, I can close my eyes and I can see myself in a better place where I am right now with friends. It could be in US, and then I can move to Canada, and then to maybe to Liverpool. Why not?
Very well. How did you speak? Who do you speak to the last time you were on the telephone?
With my best friend.
Bueno, I think we can finish here this exercise. So, what do you think? Any feedback about Maritere, watching Maritere?
I think she was looking to the left more than the right.
Yeah, left, I think, upwards.
Okay,
So the
Maritere.
remember
Yes,
visual area.
Thank you, Esther. So I'm going to share the screen again. So Maritere, this is what neuro-linguistic programming says. When you are remembering something, you're usually, especially if you are right-handed, that this could be different in every person, but usually this is the pattern. When you're right-handed, you're remembering something, you look to the left, and if it is visual, you look up left. If it is something like with sound, left, and like the ear left. Well, you see here all the, if it is, you are creating something, for example, when you are, as I tell you, create, how do you create your room? So your look was like up, left, and going right. It was mixing, remembering and creating. Okay. So kinesthetic, usually, well, Maritere, I think, well, she was looking once to one of the lower sides, but well, this is more or less the pattern, right? And it is interesting. It's something to think about when you're talking with somebody and you can see their eyes moving around, if they are creating or remembering. It may, you know, if they are looking to the right, maybe they are lying, you know, because they are creating that. You're asking something and say, what happened that? And then they are looking to the right and maybe they're lying. But be careful because that depends on every person and it's not so scientific. I mean, like 100%, right? But yeah, it's actually that it's something that happens to all of us. We move our eyes depending on what we are checking, our memory, creating, etc. Okay, let's continue. Rapport. So what is rapport? Who can tell me what do you think is rapport?
Having sort of a building sort of a relationship, almost an emotional relationship with someone. Not obviously long term, but in that moment in time, having a mutual understanding of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's so it's when you kind of connect with somebody. It could be in posture, for example, well, we're going to see here. It could be verbally, representational system. So again, we have all the, you know, it is called VIQ, visual, auditory, kinesthetic. So in this case, it's auditory, verbal. If you want to establish rapport with somebody, so that person feels comfortable with you, feels connected, you can use the same expressions, you can use the same words that person is saying. You can, for example, repeat the last sentence that they said, and then they will feel identified with you and they will feel comfortable. Sometimes this is just, I mean, it could be consciously or it could be unconsciously. This is good. We were talking some weeks ago about persuasion. So if you want to persuade somebody, it is good to establish a rapport because that person will feel comfortable with you and will be more keen to do what you ask for. Okay, so you can neuro-linguistic programming and rapport, etc. You can use with good intentions, hopefully, or you can use with not so good intentions. Hope not. Okay, use good intentions always. Please follow my values: honesty and integrity, kindness and respect. Anyway, if you don't do it, it's okay. It's your map. Anyway, for example, they use kind of a certain jargon, and I say, usually I can say, in Spanish, me mola hacer esto. It's like, I like doing this. Me mola is not very formal word. It's kind of teenager word. Me mola, no? So you can, when you are talking to that person, maybe you are older than that person, but you can use that same expression. Hey, me mola esto. So that person, even in different age, will feel connected because you are using the same language. More is so the body. You can, if you are talking with a person and that person is sit down, like for example, like this, more lean forward, you can sit down in the same way, so that person will feel more connected to you. Or if that person is putting the hand here, and well, you can do this kind of unconsciously. I mean, for that person would be unconsciously, but if you are too clear, that person will start thinking, wow, what is going on here? That person is doing exactly the same as me. So, but yeah, you can do also the same sometimes, you know, not at the same time maybe, but you can also put the hand here or sit down in the same posture, or even breathing. You can match their breathing. That is quite unconscious because we are not usually conscious with the breathing, but you can be aware of when they are breathing and then do the same pattern. And that is another way to establish rapport. And then also with the paralanguage, remember that is how we say things, the volume, the tonality, the pauses that we do. So if a person is talking quickly and if you want to establish a rapport with that person, you will also talk quickly and that person will feel connected to you more. And also using the same sentences that some of those that we are using, okay? So that is also another tool that neuro-linguistic programming gives to you. So as I said, neuro-linguistic programming is a series of techniques, of tools. And this is one of them. Now we are going to do a relaxation. And we are going to do it with a goal in mind. Okay, imagine that you have a goal that you would like to achieve in near future or maybe middle future. When I put the, okay, now. Okay, so you start feeling your face more relaxed. Your eyes are closing down. Your breathing goes slower. Expire. Expire. So you take the breath, stay there with the breath a couple of seconds and release. And once you release all your breathing, stay there also a few seconds. And come back. Now, all your body starts feeling relaxed, your arms, your legs. Now you are going to travel to a place. It's going to be your place. A place where you feel comfortable, where you feel safe. You are only there and so comfortable. Nobody can disturb you there. Nobody can hurt you in this place. It's a place where you feel complete. You feel all your worth. You feel you are all that you need to be. And now you are going to imagine that situation, that goal that you would like to achieve. Something that you have been longing for. Something that it would be very nice to achieve. You can see the situation. You can do it in first person, like if you are watching from your eyes, your own eyes, or you can do it like if you are watching yourself like in a film and see Who else is there? Who is accompanying you in this situation? What they are saying? What is the kind of words that they are saying to you? Look around. What is around? Do you see anything? What is the smell? What do you feel there? Now you can tell to yourself, I choose to be here. This is my choice. I want to be here, and I choose to do it, and I do it. Now I'm going to count until 7, and after 7 you will open your eyes. 7, 6, 5, 4, 2, 1. Open your eyes. Okay, how do you feel now?
Sleepy.
So you were taking advantage and have a good sleep. Okay, that sometimes happen. Okay, I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean,
No,
sometimes.
I was imagining too.
Yes.
Yes, I was imagining too something what I want in a future.
So this is also part of neuro-linguistic programming. Is you can visualize a desired situation, and that is also influencing your subconscious mind by visualizations. The same done affirmations. Affirmations is another good example of neuro-linguistic programming. Remember affirmations? Remember affirmations are sentences that you say in first person and present moment and in positive way. So, I feel very well. I'm healthy. I'm strong. I am the best. I can do it. Okay, so that is also neuro-linguistic programming. You, with your words, you can program in your own subconscious mind. If you repeat many times, you can believe that that works. The more you repeat that, you can repeat just in your thoughts, but even more effective if you repeat out loud. And if you put in front of the mirror and you look at yourself and you say, I'm the best, I can do it, and you repeat many times, your self-confidence is going to increase, I can tell you. And for example, you can use this when you are going to, I don't know, do a public presentation or something like that, or in any occasion when you are going to do anything. Before that, you can neuro-linguistic program yourself and to do better. Your behavior is going to be more focused on the positive things. Remember, it has to be something positive. For example, if you say, I'm not going to mess it up. I'm not going to mess it up. So the subconscious mind is going to understand mess it up, mess it up. And then the not is going to process after, okay? So it's something to be positive. All right, good. Now let's continue. So we are going to do another exercise. If you have something to write, pen and paper, great. If not, I suggest you to take one right now, because we are going to do, well, this exercise, well, maybe because we don't have, I mean, it's already almost 9. So you can just maybe practice a little bit here, and if you want, you can do it after at your home, at your own pace. The thing is, you put here the main goal that you want. For example, the one that you were thinking before in the previous exercise. And it is very important to give to say why. And if you have not only one, but not even two, but three reasons why you want that, that is going to be more powerful, because when you give reasons, then your motivation is stronger. Your unconscious motivation is stronger because you have good reasons to do it. Because I want to help a family member, I want to help a friend, or I want to improve myself in this sense, or I want to travel this here. I don't know, different reasons that you can. So it's good to have the whys. And then this main goal, you are going to subdivide in small goals, in milestones. And that will give you, because the main goal can be too ambitious. Actually, I think if you create an ambitious goal, it's better, because you will reach farther. You have an ambitious goal that if you have a goal, okay? Because if you have a very ambitious goal, maybe you don't reach that super ambitious goal, or maybe yes. But in case you don't reach that very ambitious goal, you are going to get closer, and you are going to achieve more than if you just set a mediocre goal. But if it is a very ambitious goal, it's going to be difficult to achieve, or it might take a long time. So you can put sub goals that will give you confidence. Once you achieve each of these sub goals, gives you more confidence to keep going. And also important is to say when. Remember, I don't know if you know the SMART goals. That is specific, something that you can measure. That is very important, something that you can measure. So, because if you can measure it, you really cannot know when you have achieved the goal or not. If you want to say, I want to be millionaire, okay, but how much you want to earn to be millionaire? Okay, so achievable, something that is realistic, but remember, realistic, especially for short term, okay, something achievable and realistic. Tomorrow is difficult to achieve a very ambitious goal overnight, right? But if it is something very ambitious, and it's a long-term goal or middle-term goal, it's better to be ambitious and even dreaming, not like unrealistic. Okay, so this realistic is a bit tricky. And then the T of SMART is time-based. So it's also very important to have a deadline. Otherwise, you say, okay, tomorrow or next week I will do it. So the deadline pushes you to do it. No, gives you some pressure to do it more efficiently. And then you can put here who is going to help you to do that, and how they are going to help you to do that as well. Or this how could be also how you are going to do it. So when I say left brain map of goals, is because, well, this distinction, I heard somebody who said there is actually this distinction is false. But anyway, whether it is false or not, usually we associate left brain with more rational and right brain with more creative, right? So this is for our left brain, more rationally. We are going to write with words, etc. Now the next step is to do this same thing, but drawing. So you see that here is the main goal, here is the whys, here is the sub goals, the deadline, who, and how. So in this case, you can draw it, and that will incentivate the right brain, the more creative brain, and that is the more emotional as well. And the emotions are very important in motivation. Rational is important, but emotional is even more important. and both together is the best. And when I did this exercise in a course that I attended, they told me after leaving the event to tell this to 10 people. So you tell 10 people or a good number of people, I'm going to do this when blah blah blah. Then also it gives you kind of pressure to actually do it. Otherwise, you know, it would be a bit disappointing for your friend if you in the end you don't do it. So that also the point is to give you motivation. The more motivation, so you find all the ways to provide you motivation. And another motivation could be to create a kind of punishment for you. So if you don't achieve that, you, for example, I don't know, you are not going to watch your favorite series. No, so that is another way to get motivation, to create little punishments for you if you don't achieve that. Right. So this is, we don't have time to do all this, but and now anchoring. What is anchoring? Anchoring is to establish sign that will make you go back to that state. For example, if I again, you go, I don't know, you go to some place and suddenly you hear the same music that you were listening in this presentation, that will make you remember the exercise that you were doing, the goal, this vision that you were having. Okay, that is an anchor. It could be music. Music acts perfectly for anchoring, because I'm sure to all of you this has happened, that you heard some music and that remind you when you were a child, or when you were a teenager in this festival, or when you were traveling at that time and that music was on the radio. So music is a very good anchor. But also anchor, it can be used, for example, the fingers. When you are doing an exercise, we cannot do it here because it's online, but when you are doing exercise in neuro-linguistic programming, you can put a finger here and then, okay, now go back to this situation, and what are you looking for? What you are seeing there? And now imagine that you did this, and then you put the other finger. And now that you do that, okay, so when you put the fingers here, then that state comes back to you, the state that you are having in this exercise, or it could be, for example, the looking at the mirror and say, yes, I can do it. That can be an anchor. So previously, you can be an exercise that you work very specifically on this. I can do it to increase the self-esteem, and then just doing only once can bring you that state of self-confidence again. Or it could be just, well, crossing the fingers, or doing just putting these fingers together. Like you do an exercise, for example, a visualization where you are doing a public presentation and you feel self-confident and you are doing great, people are clapping, you know, you see the successful presentation. So then when you go out and in the presentation, without, I mean, not being so clear, you can put the fingers here, or maybe something that is not so clear, people cannot see that, and then you keep the fingers here, and then that brings you that state of confidence. So that is another anchoring. And then, well, this is an exercise that usually this is made in person. Online is difficult, but it's something that you can do at your home if you want to try. You can close your eyes and think what I am doing. For example, in your profession, what do I do in my profession? And then you give a step forward and you say where I am doing that. Close your eyes, step forward, how I am doing that. Another step, who I'm doing this with. Another step, and why I'm doing that. Okay, and then you do a step forward. And now imagine that you are in front of, I mean, the whole universe is in front of you. Now, somebody in the beginning of the presentation said it was about the cosmos. Well, we can include the cosmos here. Imagine the whole universe, the universal source of energy, love, is with you. All the consciousness of the universe is with you. And now ask the same question, but in reverse. Why you are doing that? For example, Esther is saving lives with her job, right? So why I'm doing that? To save lives, to help people, to help humanity. It's a very good reason. And then you go back. Now, in this exercise with the eyes closed, you can go back, still looking at the same direction, but a step backwards. And then who is with you? A step backwards, how? And a step backward, where? Step backwards, what? And then in the end, when you go back to the what, that what, the conception of that what might be quite different. Okay, so this is another exercise, as there are many. I mean, this is the book I have. Well, I have one and the extension with more exercises. So the thing is that you have many exercises like this that you can do, and that is the neuro-linguistic programming. Apart from the concepts that we have seen, there are different exercises. For example, hypnotic language pattern. Okay, that is one exercise. Timeline and elicitation and calibration, making powerful anchors. Well, so there are many tools, techniques that you can use in neuro-linguistic programming. That if you, one day you become a practitioner, you will know about this, and actually it's quite interesting. You can use with other people, but also with yourself. So, and well, I haven't mentioned in the slides, but also neuro-linguistic programming talks about how the language affects us. For example, when we say, I need to go to work, the word need is a kind of negative connotation, right? I need to do something, it's like obligation. But if you say, I want to go to work, I want to work, or I choose to work, I choose to go to work today, you see that is different. The feeling that you have, well, depending on the job that you have, it may be, you can say I want, and you have feelings that you say no. But well, if you have that, maybe it's time to think about changing your job. The thing is, you can use this for many things. The kind of language that you use is very important. The words that you use, if they are more positive or more negative. So of course, I recommend you that you use more positive language. Or for example, when you say, why you have a lack of self-confidence? Or because nobody values me. So that is a generalization. You say you are nobody in the world is valuing you. So because of course that is not true. I mean, there are people who value you. But when you say nobody, it is counteracting, because you are in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is the boss, because whatever programs you have there, you are acting in that. But at the same time, is like a little child. Whatever you say to your subconscious mind is going to act in that way. It doesn't have any filter. If you say nobody values you, it's going to believe that nobody values you, and you are going to act in a way that you feel not valued, and well, you are going to act in, with lack of self-confidence, etc. So we have finished the presentation. Thank you again for being here one more session and grasp a little bit of more personal development tools and techniques that you can use for your self-improvement. And now it's time for questions and answers. Well, questions, answers, feedback.
I have a question. Do you use often these affirmations and goals map? And does it help for you? Does it change something for you?
Good question, because actually I think I had the paper somewhere, but right now I'm not sure where I put that paper. Ah, yes. Well, I did that exercise some years ago, and it was about doing presentations. I mean, I was not even a coach. I didn't know about neuro-linguistic programming too much, etc. It was my dream to become a coach, studying all these kind of things, and do presentations and deliver courses, workshops, etc. And I put that in my paper, and that motivated me, of course, to do that. And even I put the date that it was not in that date; it was quite after, but still, it helped me to, you know, when I had the chance to do coaching certification, I found the chance, and I didn't think twice. And then I found the chance to do the neuro-linguistic programming certification. I had the chance to start doing courses. So when I was in Liverpool, as soon as I got this coaching certification, I started doing courses. That my first one was in a restaurant for free about emotional intelligence, and just using the MeetUp group and that I created for that. And well, there were a good number of people coming to the course, and still my skills I had to improve more and more. But yeah, that was, you know, the beginning of that. So yes, that works. And about the affirmations, well, in my case at least, I'm not every day, all the time doing affirmations. But once you have achieved some kind of, for example, self-confidence, you don't need to repeat the "I'm the best" all the time, no? Because when you try things, you challenge yourself and you achieve those things, that helps you to increase your self-confidence. So that is one of, for me, the best technique, apart from the affirmations that help you. But the thing is, challenge yourself, put yourself goals, and go for them. And once you achieve them, that is the best recipe for self-confidence, to achieve your own goals. But yes, for example, the affirmations, I remember, well, fortunately, and maybe not, it's not only luck, it's all these things that I teach, plus a good nutrition. I have been, for the last 10 years or more, I think more than, I would say more than 10 years, I could count with the fingers of a hand how many times I have been sick. And it was, for example, I remember I was in that time I was in Vietnam, living in Vietnam, and I got fever. And I had a meeting with some friends. So in Vietnam, I used to move with a motorbike, and I was in the motorbike there and just repeating to myself, I'm strong, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm healthy and strong, no? Like in the motorbike, I'm healthy and strong, healthy and strong, healthy and strong, many times. And well, still when I went there, I was with the people, I not felt so well. Next day, I was much better. And the following day, totally fine. And that happened another time, just a little fever. Again, I did the same and passed so quickly. So yeah, I can say from my experience that it works, and other people have told me that they work. For example, Sue, that we have here. Oh, where is Sue? Ah, here. Yes. So I recommended Sue the affirmations, and yes, Sue.
Yeah, I didn't know if you could hear me. Yeah, they certainly work. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, perfectly. Thank you, Sue. Okay. Have I answered your question, Ingrida? I think so, right?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Any more questions? Sandra?
Okay, thank you, Esteban.
Yes.
Why is it so difficult to, to work on the affirmations? Because in general, I don't know, this is what happens to me in particular. When I think, I go for the negative. And now I see why it never works. Because I go and say, I don't want to meet anybody like this person, for example, again, instead of, changing and making it into an affirmation. So now I can understand why is it that it doesn't work. It doesn't have the same force, it's not as strong as when you go for the positive.
Mm-hmm. It's not only that it doesn't have the same force or strength or whatever, is that actually is counteracting. It's against you. Like if you say you have a boyfriend that is not being nice to you, and then you break up and you say, I don't want a boyfriend like this. And oh, what happens? You get another boyfriend like this again. So yeah, so no, I mean it's like your subconscious mind is like a child, believes everything and that doesn't process the not. So when you say, in the language, you say, I don't want a bothering boyfriend. So it gets the bothering boyfriend, and that is what reproduces, the bothering boyfriend.
And it works like that for everything. That's the problem, that we repeat that. And for example, in Spanish, in Spanish, no quiero hacer nada de esto. We have the negative all the time. At least in English, they know that they cannot use the double negative. So they are less negative than we are. I mean, Spanish speakers, because we say no, nada, nunca, nadie. So it's like reprogramming everything.
Yeah, so that is what is very important, to talk with positive things. What you want, say what you want, even think what you want. I mean, the thoughts start from your thoughts. So even in your thoughts, you must be very careful what you think, because that is also affecting your subconscious mind. And
okay, thank you, Esteban.
You're welcome. So always thinking positive, what you really want. And we saw some weeks ago also about the pendulum. Remember about the pendulum? A pendulum, if you give some strength, it starts moving, right? If you don't give a force to the pendulum, it doesn't move. So the pendulum moves when you say, I hate that person, then you give force to the pendulum of that person's energy or vibration. So how to avoid a person that you don't like? That's it, avoiding. Don't even think about that. Well, if it is within your family or in a closed circle, it's more difficult because you see more often. It's more tricky in those cases. But usually, in general, the people that you prefer not to deal with, just don't think about them. You just focus on the people that you feel well with, and think about that. You can visualize it, or and that is how you get. Some weeks ago, we had the law of attraction talk and quantum physics. In those talks, we talk more about this. So we go deeper into this and the reasons why that are in the YouTube channel. Any other questions?
What happens when a person wishes something bad for another person?
If a person what? Sorry.
Wishes.
Wishes. Okay.
Wishes.
Yeah.
Wish to wish.
If a person wishes
something
bad
bad
to another person.
To wish something bad, yes. What happens? For example, I wish for somebody something bad, and what happens for me? Energy, like in this case.
Okay, I understand. Well, so today we're not talking too much about the cosmos, about the universe, and all these kind of things, but now we can put this topic here, because if we go to the spiritual high talking, probably you have heard this sentence: we are all one. So, Sue, you're welcome. So we are all one. So what does it mean? If you think from the quantum physics point of view, that we are made of atoms, and those atoms are made of protons, electrons, neutrons, blah, blah, and then those in quarks, and then in the end is even the atom is almost empty. Anyway, so if you think from, if you put like the glasses of matrix, it's not the same, but similar, you know, and you look at the light from that everything is energy, so, you know, because we see like everything is solid, but actually is energy vibrating. So if we think about that, we now see the boundaries between you and me. We are two independent beings. But if we think, we put the glasses of the quantum physics and we see that we are the same, actually, we are made of the same, and that it is, everything is connected, because that energy travels, you know, in the, we saw also some weeks ago, in the, across the universe, in the dark energy. Dark energy, there is a representation of dark energy, and it looks like a brain, you know, like even we don't see that, everything is connected. So every thought that you have doesn't stay within you. It's something that you broadcast to the universe. So therefore, I recommend, if you don't like somebody, okay, just let it go. It's better not to waste energy on that, and because anything that you are wishing bad to other people, at the end is just, you are backfiring to you. You know, when you are pointing to somebody, there is one finger pointing to that person and 3 fingers pointing at you.
Wow. so bad.
Well, this is a simile, a metaphor, but yeah, I mean, if you want to live in peace, like for me, happiness is not about being, you know, super excited all the time. Oh, I'm happy. It's about living peacefully, in calm, you know, like you don't have too much troubles, or you have troubles, you know, like you deal with them anyway. But in general, it's a feeling of, you know, peace feeling in your life. So if you want that peace feeling in your life, it's better to not to generate other feelings that are not nice. So yeah, my recommendation is to let it go. Let it go, let it go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. As I always say, this is my experience, what I have learned, my beliefs, my values. You might have other values, other beliefs, other teachings, learnings. So do what you want. And I mean, for me, what I learned something new, I put like in quarantine. So okay, this new piece of knowledge, I will put in quarantine to test if it works for me. And if I see it works for me, I incorporate to my beliefs. So what I'm saying to you today or any other day, if you want, you don't need to believe everything. Oh yes, that is true. Or you can just, okay, keep in your mind. This is what Esteban said. I'm going to test to use that. And then if you test it and it works for you, good for you. Just this is a disclaimer. Okay. So that's all for now.
Thank you.
That's all for now. Thank you very much,
Bye.
everybody. And see you soon. See you next week if you want.
Thanks,
Okay,
Esteban.
Take care,
Bye.
everybody. See you. Be safe.